I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place mission first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? What a day. All right, I know I'm late. I'm late. I'm sorry. I have been literally going all over the place trying to get the latest, up to the second updates on all these missiles flying around everywhere. You mean you didn't hear about it? Do you live under a rock? I really don't think my listeners live under rocks, but sometimes I begin to wonder, folks. All right, I don't have any audio, but we're going to make do tonight. Because boy, do I have show prep. It's Iran and North Korea night in spades. Got a little bit about Mosul, but that's not the big story today, folks. All right. Mr. Frog, that is your last comment tonight, please. He's got to get his 2 cents in just like Host Kitty. What can I say? It has been quite a week. I know you guys haven't heard from me much in the past couple days. And I'm going to explain why. And then we'll get on with the show. Okay? Okay. Real short and sweet. I had a computer crash. And the whole thing just went down. No, I didn't get a virus. No, the NSA is not trying to hack my computer, I promise. My RAM failed. Like, utterly and completely failed like no other. I cannot even begin to tell you how frustrating this was. But of course, you all know if you've ever had to deal with tech support, what's the first thing they always want you to do? Reinstall Windows. I knew this wasn't a Windows problem. You try convincing level 1 tech support you know any more than their script. It doesn't work, folks. It just doesn't work. I mean, I have a gaming computer. And the lady couldn't get past, what game were you playing? For 10 minutes. 10 whole minutes of asking me what game I play. I wouldn't even know if there's solitaire on this computer, folks, because guess what? I don't play games on it. Nope. I don't. It's not my thing. I leave the games to everybody else. If I want a game, that's what my iPad's for. I do not play games on my computer. I work on it. I work hard on it. And that's why I buy a gaming computer. Not because I want to use it for games. But because it is the fastest and easiest way to get a powerful machine. I'm sorry, that's just the way it goes. All right, I feel better now. We got Host Kitty loaded back up. Yep, there's the kitty. Had to get my soundboard up and running. Like I said, don't have any real audio clips for you tonight. I might come up with 1 or 2 by the end. You never know what I'll pull on the fly. Half the time I don't know either, so how could you know? And for those of you listening live, I am hanging out in the chat room at KLRNRadio.com. I am going to do my darndest to be there every show for you guys. I can't promise that. Now, for those of you who are going to be looking for the Stafford Voice right after me tonight on Monday, March 6th, not going to happen. And here's why. They have a lot of thunderstorms in his area. And so being the wise person Daniel Stafford is, he decided he's going to take the night off and keep his computer, his electronics, and his family safe. Can't say I blame him. I just can't blame him. So, since I was going to drop a best of for Thursday, station manager Ann has arranged for Daniel Stafford to have my time slot Thursday night. So you won't be without your Stafford voice all week. Just have to wait a couple days. Yeah, I know, we already did show prep once, but I'm just trying to get through all the announcements. Alright, we are going to go through a couple of other updates before we get to all the missiles flying around. And boy, are they flying! Everybody, it seems today, except the United States, was launching missiles. North Korea launched them. Now we are getting ready for our annual exercises with South Korea, one of two annual exercises we hold with them every year. North Korea always gets a little bit worked up. But this is a little bit out of the ordinary even for them. And according to state TV, which you've got to take their state TV propaganda machine with a salt mine. Not a grain of salt, not a shaker of salt, the whole salt mine. Trust me. Didn't know salt was a rock and it was mined. So it is. It is. So you can't really hurt salt. That's why cars can drive over it and you hear it crunch, but that's about the size of it. All right. Also, for those of you that entered the contest, I know station manager Ann's been in touch with a couple people. She has been running around like a chicken with her head cut off. Trust me, I know. I work with her at my day job. Yes, I have a day job. Good grief. I work with station manager Ann at my day job. She has been going bonkers. So, if she's reached out to the winners as far as I know. All right, let's get on to these missiles because there's a lot to go through with them. And I've listened to some audio, but none of it was stuff I felt comfortable using on air because it wasn't copyright free. It was from other networks, and I don't normally like to do that. So you're just going to have to put up with me jabbering at you tonight. I had to straighten out my show prep. It's either Iran or North Korea, so there's only two piles. Alright, let's start off with an Iran story that is not missile, but is missile. Iran formally charges member of the nuclear negotiation team. Oh yeah, they're not real happy with that nuclear negotiation team. What can I say? Iran's judiciary has laid formal charges against a member of the team that negotiated the 2015 agreement with world powers on Tehran's nuclear program. On March 5th, judiciary spokesman Mohsani Ejui said a person was arrested in 2016 on suspicion of spying. He did not name the individual or describe the charge. A court must conduct an investigation. The unidentified individual was a spy who'd infiltrated the nuclear team. The AP reported that Ejai referred to the accused by the initials of DE. That could refer to Abdul Rasul Esfahani, who was involved in banking-related aspects of the negotiations on the July 2015 deal. Iranian media outlets close to the hardline conservative authorities reported last year that Abdul Dori Esfahani had been arrested on suspicion of selling country's economic details to foreigners. Esfahani is said to have dual nationality. However, if you've listened to this show, Iran doesn't recognize dual nationality. If you are Iranian American and you go to Iran as far as they're concerned, you're Iranian. Alright, that was the first of the simple Iran stories. We're going to get to the missiles. Multiple fast attack vessels from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps came close to a U.S. Navy ship in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing it to change directions on Saturday. The official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the boats came within 600 yards of the United States naval ship Invincible, a tracking ship, and stopped. The Invincible and 3 ships from the British Royal Navy accompanying it had to change course. Attempts were made to communicate over the radio, but there was no response, and the interaction was unsafe and unprofessional. What, Host Kitty, you got a comment? I think that was directed at the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Is that right, Host Kitty? Yep, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Similar incidents happen occasionally, but the last serious incident was in January when a U.S. Navy destroyer fired 3 warning shots at 4 Iranian fast attack vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. This is a pattern. I'm sorry. Iran's behavior recently has been, how should I say it? Unprofessional, erratic, dangerous, and stupid. And Davis did say that dangerous interactions are a matter of concern because they can lead to miscalculation or an accidental provocation. Translation: somebody might actually take a shot at Iran, and then Iran could declare war on us, and who knows where we'll be. Do I want that to happen? No. Would I like to stomp a mud hole in Iran? You bet. Alright, and just for your information, if you hear me playing with something and you can't quite figure it out, please be advised, I do have my phone and my tablet up so that I can check on breaking news, because I get it faster through my phone and my tablet than I do my web browser. What can I say? I get updates faster. Through my web browser. Through my phone and my tablet than I do my web browser. So I'm moving stuff around. Alright. That's South Korea. That's Iran. That's North Korea. North Korea. Now, FYI, I will, Iran, for every missile the media reports Iran launched, there's usually a 5-to-1 ratio. So if the media says they launched 1, chances are they actually launched 5. 2 were reported today. I'm going to say that there were 10 to 15 missiles launched. Now that's a guesstimate based on a little bit of inside baseball. I can't tell you how or where I got it. Just know that I got it. I do have a few unique sources that you guys don't have access to. Remember, I got mill friends all over the world. And you never knows what I'm gonna know that you guys don't. In fact, I'm going to check in on one of those sources as we paw on with the show. So, there is a lot going on in this world, and I can't keep up with it all, but we're always going to do our best. So, like I said, Iran launched the missiles, and all right. I'm checking one of those. I'm checking one of those other sites you guys just don't have. Alright, interesting. I will have to look into that one and cover tomorrow. I was just checking one of those off-the-book sources to see if they have anything on the missile launches. They don't. I do have, but let's just put it this way, Iran is a bad state actor. We already know this. Continuing a pattern of provocative actions, Iran this weekend test-fired a pair of ballistic missiles and sent fast attack vessels close to a U.S. Navy ship in the Strait of Hormuz. One of Iran's ballistic missiles tests were successful, destroying a floating barge approximately 155 miles away. The launches of the Fatah 110 short-range ballistic missiles was the first fire test of the missiles in 2 years. It's not immediately clear if this was the first successful test at sea. Iranian provocations are partially obscured by the worldwide focus on North Korea. So we're going to go on to North Korea because that's where I've got a lot more information. And I do have a very brief update on Mosul. And I do mean very brief. So, but like I said, it said 2 ballistic missiles in the report. I'm going to say there were more. Alright, I want to be able to focus on North Korea. So, I know we're running this show completely off the hook. And a little bit, I will admit, on my part, unprepared. But we're going to take that commercial break and give me just that much more time because I just saw something flip across my screen that I want to sniff into. And I will see you on the other side of those commercials, alright? Alright, and as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Jessie's POV.
In these
these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Alright, thank you for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. I am chasing my show prep right off my desk, don't you know it? Alright. Of course, Iran wasn't the only one throwing missiles around today. Nope, not in the least. There were more missiles thrown around, and that would have been, of course, our friends North Korea. Yes, now, give me just 1 second. I think I found the clip I've been wanting. You know me, I never stop. I really don't. So, all right. I'm going to attempt to play this for you, unfiltered, unedited, and this is from a speech at CPAC, and your speaker is Jaquito Aba, I believe, and I apologize if I am mangling the pronunciation. All right, let's take a listen. See if I got this cued right. But I am doing my best for you. And you know that. I always try. And this was a Japanese represented person that was at CPAC. And no, I wasn't there. I wanted to be, but...
Thanks to Matt Schrapp and Dan Schneider, I could come back here again. I'm so honored. Thank you. 昨年ここで私は今こそ日本とアメリカに強力な保守の政権を打ち立てる必要があると宣言しました。
Last year, right here in front of you, I promised and pledged you to work on creating the strong conservative government in US and in Japan.
この1年間、皆様も戦い続け、私たちも戦い続けてきました。
Last whole year, you kept fighting, and also I kept fighting at the another side of the earth.
日本では昨年、
Hang on, I'm trying to get to the right
政権
part.
交代に直結する大きな選挙は特にありませんでした。
Last year, in Japan, we didn't have any general election which could affect the change of our administration of Japan.
そこで私の目標は日本にいながらにしていかにしてアメリカの保守の政権の樹立に貢献するか、ここにフォーカスしてきました。
So my focus of last year was this: how I can help and support to realize the conservative government in the US by being in Japan.
アメリカの大きな変化を
I can't get to the exact clip quickly enough, so we're going to bail on it. But in short, that he says there's a very clear threat across all of Asia because of places such as North Korea. And he calls out their big brother, China. Oh, yes, what fun. So, let me give one more look for the clip I'm looking for. So, because there is a lot going on. Now, for those of you who are unaware, North Korea State TV said that their launch today was in preparation for launching against U.S. military bases in Japan. So, appropriately, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, yes, way to go, Mad Dog, spoke this evening by telephone with the Japan Minister of Defense to discuss North Korea's missile launches. Secretary Mattis and Minister Inada both agreed that the launches are unacceptable and irresponsible and, of course, violates the UN Security Council resolution. Come on, folks. Every time North Korea launches a missile, it violates a UN Security Council resolution. Let's just be blunt. And of course, they agreed to work together and try not to have any more of those. All right. So, why did I bring up Iran and North Korea? Have you forgotten that these two trade missile technology back and forth? No, I'm not kidding. I have explained this to you before. So, of course, North Korea fired 4 banned ballistic missiles into Japanese waters on Monday. The missiles were launched at about 7:36 a.m. Monday off North Korea's eastern coast and traveled 620 miles. They landed in the East Sea, which is also called the Sea of Japan. And, of course, it's a violation of the UN Security Council, and it falls within the 200-mile nautical offshore area where Tokyo has sovereign rights for exploring and exploiting resources known as its exclusive economic zone. Of course, there was a National Security Council meeting on Monday. South Korea's acting president Hwang said the launch signaled a real and imminent threat to the safety of South Korea. Hwang called on the United States to complete the installation of Terminal High-Altitude Area Defense, an advanced missile system. That is, aka THAAD, as we usually refer to it on this show. South Korean official called the latest clear violation of the UN Security Council arms resolution and had a response. And I hope Trump does take a tough stand. Because our men and women in the armed forces are getting ready to have an annual exercise. Now, for those of you who don't understand, we have soldiers on the border between North and South Korea. What? You didn't know we had soldiers on the border? Okay. Let's rewind and talk to you. North and South Korean border, it's called the Demilitarized Zone. I usually abbreviate it, the DMZ. It is a wide swath of land that, instead of being demilitarized, is probably one of the most militarized areas since the Berlin Wall came down and no man's land, all that. It is mined. You can't wander around freely. And we have soldiers who, their motto at the Joint Secure Area at Panmunjom, where the DMZ is located, is called "In Front of Them All." They are literally the frontline troops between North and South Korea. No, they're not there wearing NATO patches. They are wearing United States flags on their sleeves. So, according to the North Korean ruling party's official newspaper, new types of strategic weapons will soar if Seoul and Washington continue their annual drills, which the North, of course, claims are preparation for war against it. Okay, folks, if you've listened to this show, you've heard that 1,000 times. Every time South Korea and the United States do a military exercise, the North says, they're rehearsing the invasion. They're rehearsing the invasion. Now, North Korea launched 4 missiles. And I'm not sure if this is speculation, but like I said, we think they were Radang or Scud type missiles. Or a modified Pugusan. But no one's quite got that nailed down yet. The reason why is one of those missiles could have been an ICBM. What? Yes, you heard me. One of those missiles could have been an ICBM. Host Kitty doesn't like that either. Alright. There were 4 missiles fired within 10 minutes. Each missile was launched at a different angle. Now, the reason they're saying one could have been an ICBM is because of where it was launched from. It was launched from the station in Tongchang-ri, the North Pyongyang province, which has previously been the site of long-range rocket tests. Of course, the Aegis combat system was able to detect and track the projectiles. One flew as high as 160 miles in altitude. And it traveled approximately 620 miles. The United States and Japan are, of course, stepping up military coordination and have launched a 12-day drill that is to include the deployment of the MV-22 Osprey, a multi-mission aircraft with both vertical takeoff and landing. The exercises mark the first time the military is deploying the Osprey since a plane crash-landed in waters near Okinawa. So that's pretty big news on 2 fronts. Now, as you know, every time North Korea does a launch, everybody comes out and condemns them. Sometimes even their big brother China will. Russia has. China said it opposed the launches and called for restraint, but also noted that the United States and South Korea are carrying out military drills, which of course China says are against its little brother North Korea. So China's kind of going, don't do that, North Korea, don't do that. US, you get back in your box and stop playing nice with South Korea. Sorry, China, we don't take foreign policy or security advice from you. The head of the United Nations IAEA, International Atomic Energy Association, called on North Korea to fully comply with the obligations under the Security Council resolutions. Hint. Not gonna happen, folks. North Korea is never going to willingly comply. Now, I've got conflicting reports. One article said that there could have been an ICBM involved because of the launch platform. Another article says there was no no ICBM. So, I'm going to say maybe until I can get further information. I'm going to reach out to a couple of sources and scour the interwebs and try and get you the best information possible. Now, for those of you tuning in looking for the Stafford Voice, the Stafford Voice is not here tonight. I apologize, but Daniel Stafford is in the middle of some serious thunderstorms, and he has taken the night off to keep himself, his family, and his electronics safe. That isn't the only thing facing North Korea right now. Remember the Kim Jong-nam thing? Well, and yes, I'm almost done talking to you. Or talking at you. I hope I'm talking with you. I'm trying to make you see this. I don't know what kind of missiles North Korea launched. I will do my darndest to get that information. And no, I don't want information from Joe the blogger. I want information from a credible source. Jeff Davis at the Pentagon, one of my military friends who was watching a radar screen when it happened. Something like that I'll take as credible. Trust me. If I know them personally and they tell me, I buy it. Malaysia, North Korea. Remember they've been having this dust up over Kim Jong-nam's body, which of course has a passport named Kim Chok. Well, they still haven't released the body. And remember, he was murdered using VX. The only use for VX in this world is as a chemical weapon. Malaysia has expelled the North Korean ambassador. Of course, North Korea's denied any role in the killing, and Malaysia's been accused of conspiring with North Korea, the enemies of North Korea. Prime Minister Najib Razak has decided to expel Kang to send a clear message. It means we are firm in defending our sovereignty and dignity. Don't ever insult our country and don't try to cause disruptions here. Malaysian authorities have declared Kang persona non grata, which means you can't stay here, get out of our country. On Saturday, he was given 2 days to leave the country. He arrived late on Monday afternoon at the Kuala Lumpur airport, where he told reporters that Malaysia was doing great harm to the country's relations. Soon after, North Korea's central news agency said Malaysia's ambassador would also be expelled. That usually happens. One group expels an ambassador, your ambassador to that country is going to get kicked out too. So that's no big deal. The reciprocal action is normal. Malaysia's ambassador had been recalled 2 weeks ago for consultations and is still safely in Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia, of course, found that VX killed Kim, created speculation that North Korea was behind it. So, by the way, folks, we do believe that North Korea has chemical weapons. Trust me, they probably have them. North Korea will do anything to try and get and maintain power. Of course, Ri Il, a former North Korean deputy ambassador to the United Nations, said Kim Jong-nam probably died of a heart attack because he suffered from heart disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure. Hint. They haven't seen the body. They haven't been able to examine the body. They haven't been able to claim the body. Health Minister Sabrahim Savisev said pathologists have ruled out heart attack based on autopsy findings. So, who are you going to believe there? Sorry, I'll believe the docs with the reports. And North Korea has ordered assassinations before. It wouldn't be the first. So, KCNA said the exercise was carried out back to the North Korean news agency. The KCNA, the North Korean news agency, said that the exercise was carried out by an artillery unit tasked to strike the bases of U.S. imperialist aggressor forces in Japan. So, this, folks, ain't good. Of course, everyone's still scrambling. There's I've got just a couple more updates, and then I'm getting out of here tonight, folks. I do have to make way for other folks on air tonight because, well, America Off the Rails is supposed to be coming up soon. Now, I've got one more Asia Pacific story, and then we are going to do a very brief proposal update. And this is going to be a very brief one. And just for your information, there will be another OIR update through the Pentagon on Wednesday. Yes, I'll be watching. Seoul's government is considering filing a complaint at the World Trade Organization against what they described as China's trade retaliation after Seoul agreed to deploy THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude, THAAD. Beijing is widely believed in South Korea to be retaliating against some of its companies and canceling performances by Korean artists. China rejected the application by some Korean carriers, including Jeonju Air, to add charter flights between the two countries in March. So basically, China's not coming out and saying, no, we don't want you doing business here. We're just going to throw as much red tape and be as stubborn as we can. Chinese authorities have also closed down nearly 24 of Lock Group's retail stores following inspections. Of course, China objects to the THAAD deployment, saying its territory is the largest of the is the target of the system's far-reaching radar. South Korea and the U.S., of course, are going, hey, stupid, we're watching North Korea. We don't really care about you. Because you're not the one shooting off rockets every other week and screaming that you're going to take our troops out. All right, I have 2 more stories, and these are the most brief Mosul update I think I've ever done, folks. It is brutal street-by-street fighting right now in West Mosul. However, Daesh militants have used chemical weapons during the battle for the city of Mosul, injuring a number of civilians. The senior Iraqi security official who spoke on the condition of anonymity said that the assessment comes after the International Red Crescent or Red Cross, take your pick, issued a statement last week saying their workers had treated patients from Mosul who were suffering symptoms consistent with exposure to a toxic chemical agent. The first cases arrived were a mother and her 5 children. It was certainly the result of a toxic chemical agent because their symptoms were absolutely clear. People had blisters, they had vomited, they had irritation in the eyes. I'm guessing, based on symptoms, mustard gas. At least 12 locals had been affected what is believed to be mustard gas. Whoa, I hadn't even gotten that far in the story. Including a 2-month-old baby. Manufacture or use of chemical weapons is prohibited by an international treaty which has been signed by every country in the world. Iraqi forces have been, of course, making steady progress toward the Daesh-held city center of Mosul. So, it is definitely dire. In general, escaping families are arriving very hungry, dehydrated, and traumatized. Some families talked about fleeing and seeing people killed by sniper fire and car bombs. Families I talked to today have been surviving for weeks on flour and water, sometimes tomato paste and maybe a bit of bread. Food prices have shot up. A kilo, which is a lot less. A kilo of sugar is approximately $20. People are also talking about how cold it has been. They're burning anything they can find to stay warm, so furniture and plastic. They're tearing tables and chairs apart. In order to stay warm, it seems that primarily hunger has been one of those drivers as to why families have left. So, and the camps are getting fuller. Mosul is the last remaining urban center controlled by Daesh in Iraq. So, you go, Iraqi security forces. Now, one last story, and then I'm going to make my way out of here. A U.S. airstrike in Yemen. Told you it was a Middle East update. Probably the shortest one I've done in a while. Killed a former Guantanamo Bay detainee as part of the Trump administration's expanding counterterrorism campaign in Yemen. A man known as Yasir al-Silmi was held at the military prison in Gitmo from 2002 to 2009. Was believed dead following a March 2nd strike that also killed Usayd al-Adani, who was a top operative for al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. The strike last Thursday was part of a stepped-up military campaign, including airstrikes, expanded ground operations against AQAP since Trump took office. One of the opening moves of that campaign was a controversial January 29th raid. Okay, for those of you who are saying that raid, I don't have the audio. I'll give myself one shot to find that audio clip. If I have it, I know where it is, but it will take me a minute to dig it out. So, that raid was not ill-prepared. That raid was started way before Trump took office. Okay? Oh, and I found the raid, and here's the proof.
There is let's go through the TikTok on that raid. On November 7th, CENTCOM submitted the plan to DOD. Clearly, that was under the last administration. Legal teams were involved immediately when it was submitted to DOD. On December 19th, the plan was approved by the Department of Defense and recommended that it be moved ahead. It was sent then to the National Security Council staff here in the White House. Again, this all happened under the previous administration. On January 6th, there was an interagency deputies meeting. The deputies recommended at that time that they go ahead. It was so easily approved, it was sent straight up. The conclusion was at that time to hold for what they called a moonless night, which by calendar wouldn't occur until then President-elect Trump was President Trump. On January 24th, shortly after taking office, Secretary Defense, then Mattis, read the memo, resent it back up to the White House, conveying his support. On the 25th of January, the President was briefed by General Flynn on Secretary Mattis's recommendation and the status of the operation or potential operation. The President asked to see Secretary Mattis and Joint Chiefs of Staff Dunford. He then, on that evening, had a dinner meeting, which included the President, the Vice President, Secretary Mattis, Chairman Dunford, Chief of Staff Priebus, Jared Kushner, Chief Strategist Bannon, General Kellogg, General Flynn, and CIA Director Pompeo, where the operation was laid out in great extent. The indication at that time was to go ahead. On Friday, the 26th in the morning, the Deputies Committee met again. It was not a necessary step because they had previously recommended and also reaffirmed their support for that. On January 26th, the President signed the memo authorizing the action. So it was not only was it a very, very thought out process by this administration.
Okay, so anyone who wants to say that raid was rushed, I guarantee you it was not. The United States Navy SEALs do not rush operations. They will not be rushed for political expediency. So, the presence of a former U.S. detainee among militants targeted in Yemen may provide, and hopefully so, additional ammunition to the critics of the efforts to resettle prisoners from the facility, which the former President Obama sought and failed to close before he stepped down. Some lawmakers have long opposed releasing detainees because of those men posing security threat to the United States. The scale of that risk has been widely disputed. So, it'll be interesting to see how President Trump handles Gitmo. Alright, folks. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV. And you can shoot me an email at the station at Jessie's POV at KLRNradio.com. And on that note, folks, I'm out of here!